Welcome everyone to NEXGROW podcast. Here we are dedicated to exploring the critical intersection of mining and sustainability. I'm your host Mohsen, and today we're kicking off a three-part series aimed at demystifying responsible mining practices. We'll be navigating the complexities of standards, guidelines, and the organizations shaping this vital field. In this first episode, we'll lay the foundation, understanding the current landscape and how these frameworks can guide mining companies towards more responsible operations. Our goal is to provide clarity and actionable insights. And joining me today is Ali, who is an expert in sustainability and social responsibility within the mining sector. Ali, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Mohsen. It's a crucial topic, and I'm glad to be here.
Ali, before we dive into the frameworks, let's underscore why social responsibility is so critical for the mining sector today. According to EY's Top 10 Business Risks and Opportunities for Mining and Metals in 2025, social license to operate and environmental, social and governance (ESG) factors are consistently among the top risks. This means that failing to address social responsibility can have severe consequences for a mining company's viability.
You're absolutely right, Mohsen. The risks are substantial. Loss of social license can lead to project delays, community protests, and even operational shutdowns. It can also impact investor confidence and access to capital.
Exactly. Now let's dive into the organizations setting these standards. We have the ICMM, GRI, World Bank, IFC, RMI, ILO, IRMA, and the UN Global Compact. Can you give us a quick overview of each and their core principles? We will focus on ICMM and GRI in more detail.
Absolutely. The ICMM, or International Council on Mining and Metals, focuses on 10 principles covering everything from ethical business practices to community development. The GRI provides comprehensive sustainability reporting standards, crucial for transparency. The World Bank/IFC sets performance standards for project financing, influencing industry best practices. The RMI, Responsible Minerals Initiative, focuses on responsible mineral sourcing, especially in conflict zones. The International Labour Organization sets crucial labor standards. IRMA, Initiative for Responsible Mining Assurance, is unique in that it offers third-party certification of responsible mining practices, and the UN Global Compact encourages aligning operations with 10 universal principles.
Let's dive deeper into ICMM's 10 principles. These are vital for many large-scale mining operations.
ICMM's 10 principles lay out a clear and thoughtful framework for responsible mining, and they're all about doing the right thing. At their core, these principles focus on ethical behavior and being transparent in how businesses operate. They emphasize weaving sustainable development into every part of mining operations, making sure host countries genuinely benefit socially, economically, and environmentally. What really stands out is the strong commitment to respecting human rights and staying far away from any kind of involvement in abuses. Companies are encouraged to put solid risk management systems in place to prevent harm before it happens. And when it comes to health and safety, that's non-negotiable. The goal is zero harm, whether for employees or the local communities. Environmental responsibility is also a big deal here. It's all about reducing the impact on our planet, protecting biodiversity, and making sure land is used responsibly. Fairness is key too, especially when it comes to resettling communities or working with indigenous peoples. Their rights and cultures need to be respected every step of the way. And finally, there's the idea of materials stewardship. It's about being mindful of how resources are produced, used, and recycled, moving toward less waste and more of that circular economy everyone's talking about these days.
Excellent. And what about GRI? We know they focus heavily on reporting. What are the key components of their reporting standards?
The GRI standards are all about helping companies be more transparent and accountable by giving them a solid framework to share their environmental, social, and governance (ESG) performance. The big idea here is Materiality. Companies focus on in the ESG issues that matter most to them and their stakeholders. A huge part of GRI reporting is engaging with stakeholders. It's not just about ticking a box, it's about genuinely listening to people, addressing their concerns, and sharing how those conversations shape the company's actions. Context is key too. Companies need to set the stage by explaining their operating environment and the unique challenges or opportunities in their industry. GRI reports aim to be as complete and accurate as possible, covering all the important topics and providing reliable information. They also encourage companies to look at the bigger picture, how their performance fits into the broader sustainability landscape. From economic and environmental issues to social topics, the scope is pretty comprehensive. What's really cool is that GRI also offers sector-specific standards, like ones tailored for mining, so companies get guidance that's super relevant to their industry. In the end, GRI reporting isn't just about data. It's a way for companies to show their commitment to sustainability and even compare their progress with others in the same field.
Now, Ali, while these frameworks are valuable, what are some of the current gaps?
Even with strong standards in place, there are still some big gaps when it comes to responsible mining. One major challenge is making sure best practices are applied consistently across all operations and supply chains. That's easier said than done. Then there are the fast-moving issues like climate change, biodiversity loss, and the social impacts of the energy transition. These are complex and evolving, and the current guidance doesn't always keep up with the pace of change. Another toughy nut to crack is bringing artisanal and small-scale mining into the mix. Because this sector is so informal and often operates without much regulation, integrating it into responsible supply chains is a real struggle. On top of that, monitoring and verifying performance can be tricky, especially in remote or complicated environments where keeping an eye on things isn't straightforward. And let's not forget one of the most important pieces, making sure local communities and indigenous groups are truly included. They need a real seat at the table, not just during the development of these standards, but also when it's time to put them into action.
That's a good breakdown. So how can mining companies effectively monitor their social responsibility performance? What metrics and KPIs should they be tracking?
Monitoring is a big deal for mining companies when it comes to showing they're serious about social responsibility. It means keeping track of a mix of numbers and real-world outcomes through key performance indicators. On the numbers side, companies look at things like how much of their revenue goes into community development projects, the percentage of local hires, water use and discharge quality, how much habitat they've disturbed and restored, and workplace health and safety stats. But it's not just about the data. The qualitative stuff matters too. For instance, how well do grievance mechanisms work? How many community concerns are being raised, and are they actually being resolved? Plus, documenting things like free, prior, and informed consent is crucial. Another key part is transparency. Submitting GRI reports to show the company's ESG impacts and getting IRMA verification for third-party assurance are great ways to back up their claims. To keep things on track, companies need a solid mix of regular reporting, feedback from stakeholders, and independent audits to make sure they're walking the talk.
This has been incredibly insightful, Ali. Thank you for breaking down this complex landscape.
My pleasure, Mohsen.
So to wrap up, we've explored the key organizations, their guidelines, and how they can be implemented. But as we'll discuss in our next episode, there are still significant gaps that need to be addressed. In episode 2, we'll delve into the unmet needs and challenges in responsible mining, examining where existing frameworks fall short.